Hi, I'm Warren Sprouse, and you are on the Bible Forum. I want to talk to you about authority. I want to talk to you about the accusations that people make against authority. I want to talk to you about the falseness of accusations. Every day, it seems a police officer or an entire department is being accused of harassment and or physical abuse at motor vehicle stops and other situations as well. What's happening? Well, in short, we are living in a world of 5-year-olds. They know what the rules are, so they think. They know the police officer really has the authority. They got a gun. No, they don't. They don't believe he has the authority. They know arguing or resisting only escalates the situation. No, they don't, because that never happened at home. At least it never got out of control. They always won. In most cases, they know they've done wrong, or they should know they've done wrong. But they don't seem to. And so they argue. They resist. They even fight back physically. And then when they are arrested, they run to the media and they cry foul. You know, he put me in here. Look at that, me down on the ground. Yes. How do I get you to stop? I'm by myself and you won't stop. What do? I knock you down. Trained to do that. Here's a news flash for you. Police officers are in constant danger of physical harm every time they put the badge on. They know that. This keeps them alert, and it keeps them tense. I don't mean physically tense, but they're coiled. Police officers exist for no reason but to protect you from harm or dangerous activity. And this conflicts with their own fear of personal harm. You're going to get hurt. They're very often willing to get themselves hurt to help you. That's how selfless they are. Police officers have elaborate and rigid rules about their behavior. The training is immense and intense, and the accountability is growing exponentially with all the cameras that are out there and the microphones. Police officers are trained to recognize deviations in good order. They can tell by the way you're moving if you're lurking or you're just sauntering. I worked with the police department in New Jersey for several years. I remember early in my experience riding with an officer, and there was a man standing. It was in the middle of the night, and you couldn't tell who he was. He was standing under a tree. And the officer driving went over to confront the man, find out what he was doing, and he walked away, disappeared. I said, "Aren't you going to try?" No, he said, "If he's up to no good, he'll be back." I was there one night when a police officer brought in some young people. He had stopped a motor vehicle. There were 2 boys in the car. There were 2 girls in the car. He arrested them all, brought them in, had the car towed in. His sergeant, his supervisor, asked him when the paperwork was done, "What was your cause? What was the probable cause? You can't just stop a car for no reason. What was the probable cause?" And he said, I heard him say it, "Chrissy got in that car." Sergeant said, "What?" I said, "Christopher got in that car." What does that mean? Wherever Christopher goes, there's a problem. He said, "You can't put that on a piece of paper." He said, "Well, put down fictitious plates." Because they were. Fictitious plates, stolen car, girls were runaways, open alcohol, and you could smell the marijuana. Now, this was in the 80s. The smell of marijuana was enough. Sometimes cops just know. They recognize deviations in good order, and they'll pursue them. Police officers will get hurt. They might even get killed when the good order is violated and they are forced to engage. And they know that. Police officers are trained in how to handle chaos. The basic rule is you cannot reason with chaos, and you meet force with force. You meet force with a greater force. And sometimes that means surprise. Shing, bang, boom, you're down. Two guys sitting on you while we handcuff you. Police brutality. No. Police survival. Police officers have the power. And they have the weapons to stop you. Look at them and how they're dressed and armed. Now look at you. It isn't even. You are conditioned by the culture to resist all authority. Your parents never had absolute authority over you, and you don't expect anybody to have that. If the teacher says something to you that you don't like, you're going to tell your parents, and they're going to be down here telling the principal, and we're going to have a little... You are the most important person on the planet. Mommy told you that all your life. You are used to getting your way. All you have to do is throw a fit. You have no idea how dangerous you really are, or how dangerous you really were in that situation. And this creates a potential for confrontation that just gets higher. Police officers who appear to be looking for confrontations or abuse their authority are routinely weeded out of the force by their superiors. When it appears that that's not happening, their superiors are replaced. Police departments do not operate as independent, autonomous agencies. They're under authority to elected officials. And there's more than one layer of accountability. And now, they got cameras everywhere. So what are we learning? We see the videos. We're learning that the confrontations are almost always initiated by the public. The public that would scream bloody murder if the police weren't there. The public being trained every day to resist authority and to do so by force if necessary. Today, because I said so, is considered child abuse. A mob cannot be controlled. We send police officers out, riot control. You can't control a riot. You can't control a mob. The mob must be dispersed. The riot must be quelled. And if you do what you're told, you won't get hurt. But that's now a threat. It used to be protective. It used to be taught to children when they're 2. It used to be all the protection any child needed. So remember, police officers are under tremendous control. They have all the power, the tools, and the laws on their side. But they are also under tremendous pressure. They must keep the peace. They must protect and serve the public, and do it all without becoming part of the problem. Push their buttons, and you will immediately realize how outclassed you are in this situation. Resist physically and you will be in for a shock. Police officers don't have unlimited time to debate with you like mommy does, or like your teachers will. And the shock you get could last for years. Oh, and it could cost you a whole lot more than you ever expected. Why? Because police officers know the law. You don't. And they also know their limitations. And you don't. In short, grow up. Deal with it. You were either breaking the law or appearing to do so, whether you knew it or not. And they exist to protect and to serve the public, even you, and even if you don't want them to. What you were doing seemed logical, reasonable to you, but it interfered with what they were empowered to do. Or you were driving a car similar to what they were looking for. It wasn't personal. Or you were someplace they were tasked with keeping clear. Or the list is almost endless. Just remember, it's not personal. Give them a break. Give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't know everything. You've seen the videos. The majority of people in these seem to be emotionally dysfunctional, or people who really believe they are the center of this particular universe, and they don't deserve to be treated this way. What way is that? Having to obey the law. Having to follow the police officer's instructions. Having patience. Or simply acting like a responsible member of society. If you're one of these socially dysfunctional, ignorant, or legally irresponsible type people, don't be surprised if you get handcuffed one day. And remember, I told you, it's not personal. You got handcuffed to protect the officer from you. You got handcuffed to protect even you from yourself. And these are all things you should have learned at home. Oh, that's right. Today, young people don't have a home. They simply have a house or a room, a place to sleep and play video games. And nobody's telling you these things. So now you know. A word to the wise.